My name is Steve Selengut. I was a professional investment manager, managing money for 135 odd families, amount in the 110 million neighborhood. And I did that for around 45 years, just a little less than 45 years. And then I sold my business. My focus was not just to build an illusion of wealth. I focused on generating income for my clients, figuring that the more clients I had that were happy with the amount of income I was producing for them, the bigger my business would grow, and I would make more money by the breadth of my business, not by how pretty the accounts looked as far as market value. Clients would make all the money they needed, and I would make all the money I needed. I promised them that I would never invest in any security of any kind that I didn't own personally myself, which is pretty much opposite to the mainstream way of looking at things. And secondly, I promised them that I would try every year to make them more in profits than they paid me in fees. And with rare exceptions, that was actually pretty easy to do. That was the difference. That's what I was selling when I sold my business. And I got what you would call an offer you couldn't refuse. I was already in my late 70s, beyond mid 70s. And I knew from how much money I was making that with the income from my investment portfolio and what I normally made in profits on a regular year, that I would instantly be making more money than I was when I was managing the $110 million. Yeah, I had sold the business, but I wasn't done. I wasn't going to go lie on a beach somewhere. So I did a couple of things. I wrote a book that outlined my process, and I determined that my ghostwriter convinced me that I should make the book a funnel towards a coaching program where I could teach people how to do this. So that was all well and good, but I have no marketing skills, really. So I spoke with the person who set me up with Amazon for the publishing of the book and all that. And I asked her if she had any contacts or if she could publicize me, get me out there, And she said she knew somebody. And so I spoke to the person who she knew. And fortunately, the person she knew was too busy to deal with me and recommended me to somebody. I'm almost crying. Recommended me to somebody who eventually really did change my life by putting so much energy of her own into getting. I think she saw my message and she said, "This is a good message. Maybe she had grandparents who were in retirement and weren't doing what I did and weren't living as well as I did and traveling the world." And she said, "Geez, this is really a message. I can get this message out there." And she did, and she has. I don't think there are more than a handful of investment books by less than famous people like myself. I'm a total no-name. Nobody knows about me. I was never with a big company. I've never been on TV. I'm within 300 books of selling 10,000 books. Nobody does that. No unknown authors like myself can do that. I don't think I need to say anything else about her. She got me here. So that's where I am and who I am. And I guess my purpose in this interview is to not to sell me, but to sell the person, who has produced these great results for me. And I have no doubt that she could do this for pretty much anybody and any type of business. She just seems to have a clarity and an imagination that says, okay, this thing demands this type of approach. She just doesn't throw the same approach at everything. She thinks about it. It's not a standard operation, and it becomes a team effort. I've always been a person who likes to team up with the people I'm working with. We don't have an employee-employer relationship. We have a partnership, a relationship financially as well as the work piece of it. I like to do that because I like people to have the same incentive that I have to get the job done. And that incentive has very clearly been there in my experience with Lauren.